Welcome back to Cooking in the Casbah. We're at the Willow Street Co-op. Sustainable agriculture is on my mind today, and I'm sure it's on yours. And this is Leah Kaplan from the Washington Hotel, Restaurant and Culinary School. That's a lot of things. So what don't you do there then?
We don't have a coffee shop there, but we have one in Madison. So.
Fantastic. They make up here. Tell me what it is that you do up there, and what is it that you're making today briefly?
Well, we have a historic inn with a restaurant, a culinary school, and a mission to return the island's economy to agriculture.
Leah's talking about the island that is at the northernmost tip of Door County Peninsula. It's still part of Wisconsin. You do have to take a ferry or swim. How do you get there?
Usually by ferry.
By ferry.
Yeah.
I would just swim it myself because I'm like that. So I saw you boiled some potatoes.
Yep, we're making gnocchi here using island-grown, stone-ground whole wheat. So we boiled the potatoes in their skins, peeled them as soon as we could handle them, and then riced them. You can do this in a food mill. A potato ricer works well, and what you want to do is kind of spread it out so some of the moisture evaporates and let it cool just a little bit more when it's just a little bit warmer than room temperature. We're going to put some white flour, some wheat flour. We make a little well just like we're making pasta right in the middle. Put nutmeg in anything that I make that has potatoes or cream, salt, and I'm just going to kind of scramble the egg a little bit, let it incorporate some of the flour from the sides, and then
mix it all together.
So I'm just going to divide this into about 6 equal pieces, roll it out into about 3/8 inch rope, and then cut it into 1 inch lengths.
So the rope helps you make sure it's all the same
even
size.
Yep. And also doing it faster for me helps me keep it even. I just get a rhythm and go, but if I'm looking at everyone, then they're off. You can use a fork.
I will grab one right now.
Or you can use a gnocchi board, and you want to just dip the back of it in the flour. You put it on here, and what you're doing here is you're doing a few things. You're rolling it down over that. And we should get a
Mine doesn't
maybe.
look anything like that. What went wrong here?
Well, you only did one thing of the two things. The one thing you did was you got the ridges, but you're also trying to form a cavity on the other side for the sauce, and also to make it an equal thickness all around so it cooks evenly. So we do this. This is the most relaxing thing I do in my
That's when you go in the zone and just think about nothing but, maybe everything but.
Now we're going to boil the gnocchi in heavily salted water. You want to wait till the water is boiling to add the salt, otherwise you will pit the bottom of your pans when the water sinks down to it. So once it's boiling, the salt dissolves immediately. You just drop them in, and it's all about starch. The whole good gnocchi, bad gnocchi is all about how the starch is developed and how it sets and how it cools. The setting happens in the cooking, and the cooling happens when it comes out. You just put them in. They'll rise to the top when they're done. So it's pretty foolproof. Yep. Okay, so just scoop them out.
How long do they sit in the ice water?
We let them sit in here until they're cool all the way through, so 2 or 3 minutes. And then we strain them, toss them with some olive oil, and chill them. You can keep them about a day. After that, they do tend to they break down a little bit.
So the gnocchi's done. What kind of a sauce will you top it with?
We're doing a wild spring sauce. We have dandelion greens, asparagus. We have some button mushrooms because we're anxiously awaiting the morels. You also can use wild leeks. We're using some domestic leeks right now because we're also about a week early for the wild leeks.
Those are the things that first start coming out of the ground in the spring, like asparagus.
Yes. Yeah.
And I see you have the oven preheated to 450.
Yep, we're going to roast the asparagus and mushrooms. We're going to toss it with a little olive oil and salt. The salt is for flavor. It also helps them roast because it draws the moisture out. So it sort of expedites the process. And you can just put those on there. The mushrooms roast at 450 for about 25 or 30 minutes. The asparagus about 15 minutes. We are going to cook this in olive oil and butter. The butter for flavor because this is actually a light cream sauce. And the olive oil so that the butter doesn't brown too much because we want to cook the leeks until they're very, very, very tender. So we need to cook them a while, and if it was just in butter, the butter would brown before the leeks were done. And when you put them in water, you want to put them in so there's enough room for any dirt to drop out to the bottom. You don't want to just pack them in there.
How am I doing?
Good stirring. We're also going to salt these for the same reason that we salted the roasting vegetables to draw liquid out. That'll make them cook faster. And you also want to salt every layer of the sauce. So we'll turn it down, let it cook slowly. Once they're totally tender and translucent, we'll add thinly sliced garlic. This is the best way to prepare garlic. Never crush it, never mince it, either whole or thinly sliced. You get the nicest, least bitter flavor out of it that way. Okay, then we're gonna cook the garlic until it's soft. So once the garlic is soft, we will add a little vegetable stock. You can use chicken stock, you can use water. We're going to be adding dandelion greens, and they're going to release a lot of liquid like spinach does. So you want to make sure that here.
What was that?
This is cream.
The magic touch.
We want to reduce this. That's why we're doing it in a saute pan. There's more surface area. It'll reduce faster than if it were in a closed container or a pot. So this is thickened nicely. We'll just stir in some greens. They'll wilt immediately.
A stir. I'm here to help.
You're helping a lot.
As long as I don't set the kitchen on fire. This is reduced, nice and delicious. Smells great from the garlic. And how do you combine the three elements? The baking?
We have our roasted asparagus and mushrooms here. Our chilled gnocchi, we're going to saute it, get it nice and golden brown. So we're going to add some butter to help that along. And then we're going to just put it on the plate, put the sauce over it, lay the roasted vegetables on top, and sprinkle a little toasted almonds on it.
Meanwhile, I just want to make sure that everything is what we
please
expect it to
taste.
be. She's right. The creaminess from the cream neutralizes the bitterness from the dandelion. Something else I do to neutralize the bitterness from the dandelion is boil them. And then I wring them and add a lot of citric acid in the form of lemon juice. Try that one first. Instead of eradicating them.
You want your pan to be nice and hot. If it's not hot, the gnocchi is going to stick, and the most delicious part the pan will get instead of the diner.
You want to eat it.
Yeah, and you don't want to overcrowd it. So you're just going to let it sit and brown. And
Here, I'm helping.
You're an eager helper.
Yes, I am. I'm often accused of being way too eager.
We want it, because we already have them tossed in oil, so what we're really trying to do here is just get a nice golden brown on it. So let it sit, get brown, and then give it a toss. While this is cooking, I'll tell you a little bit about our wheat.
Yes.
We have a brick oven at the hotel, and 3 years ago we got together some farmers and people who wanted to farm, people who had farmed in the past, asked them to grow some wheat for us for our breads, and they did, and we stone grind it. It's fabulous. It's an ideal climate, ideal soil for wheat. Wheat is also ideal for the ecology of the island. So when we talk about sustainability, this is an all-around sustainable product. So now you can give it a toss and you see how nice and golden they got.
That's what we're looking for.
Yep. And it doesn't have to be that way on all the sides, as long as each gnocchi has one nice crisp golden side. That's all we need.
Now I can do that.
Yep.
Now I can do this.
Now you're free to do that.
That's my job.
Okay, so we'll just take a little bit out.
Lovely brown gnocchis.
And we'll put a little sauce on top. Make sure we get some dandelions, some leeks. Better not to use a slotted spoon for scooping
Try
sauce.
something without
And we'll put some roasted asparagus over it. Mushrooms.
And some of the roasted mushrooms, and those were the ones that were in the oven.
Yep. And toasted almonds.
That looks delicious. What was that called again?
That's Island Spring Gnocchi.
This is Leah Kaplan from Washington Hotel, Restaurant and Culinary School off the Washington Island, on the Washington Island. Stay tuned. When we come back, more sustainable agriculture on Cooking the Casbah.